Patrick. You're watching Tesla Trip, and I'm on a Tesla trip. This was originally what I intended to do with this channel when I got my Model S in 2013. So 10 years ago was the first time I was driving a Tesla, and there were zero charging options in Wyoming, like literally none. So I was waiting to get Tesla until there was chargers and superchargers. But I found out you could use RV parks. So what I used to do is I'd hypermile, where I drive really slow with the heat off, and I'd get to an RV park and I would charge there for a couple hours and I'd make these videos. And that's the whole reason I started this channel. There wasn't any people in Wyoming to talk to about electric vehicles. Nobody had them. So I made these videos and here I am. 10 years later, several Teslas later, we still have several Teslas in the family, and I'm in Nephi, Utah, charging at a V3 supercharger, and it's interesting. I've got 40 minutes to go, and I thought, you know what, I'll hop on over to Scorpio, where they've got this weird little zoo that's outside, petting zoo with a camel, and Electrify America station, because it says I got 40 minutes to wait before I can hop on over to Beaver, Utah. And then I was looking at it and I was like, holy cow, they're wanting 56 cents a kilowatt for the Electrify America station, where in Nephi it's only 33 cents a kilowatt. So it's cost almost twice as much to charge over in Nephi, or in Scorpio versus Nephi. And unfortunately, Beaver is just really far away, and this is a very early VIN Model Y with nearly 100,000 miles on it. It's like 97,000 miles. So it's not charging super duper fast, and the battery is not, like, I think it's saying I could get 272 miles, and this is with winter tires, at a full charge. And right now I'm charging at like 39 kilowatts. I figure if I hop another 40 miles down the road and I plug in there, it'd probably hop back up to 100 kilowatts for a while, and then I can get over to Beaver quicker. It would be the quicker way to travel. So I thought this would be a good way to explain how I travel in my Teslas. I've optimized it as much as possible. So I'm going to CES, that used to be called the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, and it's about almost 800 miles from where I live, and I make it in one day. And here's how I do it. I leave at like before 9, and then I travel to Rock Springs, which oddly enough, because the wind was really bad, it's up elevation and it was super cold, 0 degrees. I barely made it with 1% range, like 5 miles left of range, which is weird. I haven't had that problem in a really long time. I thought that was odd that happened in my Model Y. Some of the older X's that we have, they have ranges that are down to around 120 miles. So I would expect that from them, but not from the Y, because I have like almost 50 more miles of range. But anyways, so this is my story. So I go from there over to Evanston, Wyoming to charge. What I used to do in my Model Y and my Model X before there were superchargers is I would take back roads, which was physically shorter, and was about 280 some miles. I would hypermile it and go really slow, and I would make it all the way to Evanston to an RV park next to a Mexican restaurant, and they'd let me plug in there for about 2 hours, and then we'd eat at the restaurant, and then we'd go to Park City, Utah, that had a Chatamo charger, which then we could get into Salt Lake, which had a supercharger, and then we could make it all the way to Las Vegas. Luckily now there's superchargers in Rock Springs and in Evanston, and tons of them around Salt Lake now. I lost track, there's so many. When there's still not that many in Wyoming. But this brings me to the point of the issues that people are going to have with the CyberTruck, because they're showing the efficiency and the charge curve on a lot of videos right now, and they're not particularly great, because it's an 800 volt system, as opposed to the 400 volt system that all the Teslas are and all the current supercharging stations are. And what they do is they do pack splitting, and so I wonder if you're only getting at 250 kilowatts for the first 30% of the battery, and then it drops dramatically, especially after 50%, down to around like 70 kilowatts. People are kind of freaking out about it. Because it's a larger battery pack, I think it's 122 kilowatts, the time that you're going to have to spend at a supercharger is going to be a lot more, because it's also going to be the least efficient Tesla ever made, with the exception of the Semi. And that's one of the things I noticed with the Rivian and with the Lightning that I have. They have large battery packs. They've got like 133 kilowatts, and they've got about half the efficiency of this Model Y with about around a 75 kilowatt battery, about, give or take a bit. So people with Cybertrucks are going to be having to take twice as long to charge as the people with the newer Teslas. Although some of the older Teslas, they're capped out around 100 kilowatt, 125 kilowatt. And then if you're on an older supercharger where they're paired and two people are plugged in at the same time, they're only giving about 75 kilowatt. It's interesting. And I've been to a lot of supercharger stations, and this one at Nephi, one side of it is V2 and the other side's V3. The V1 or the V2 side is up to 150 kilowatts. But when two people park right next to each other, if they're on a pair, they each only get about 75, depending on the state of charge. Like, if somebody's finishing up, the other person gets more, but roughly it's about half for the middle part of the charge. If people would just drive to the other side for the other 10 chargers, they're all V3s. So people are taking literally twice as long to charge on the other side of the building just because they don't know that they should look for the thinner cables. And over in Beaver, Utah, they actually have little signs that say 250 kilowatts on top of the V3 chargers. So if you're new to charging in a Tesla and a Cybertruck, look for the ones that say 256 kilowatt. Elon said a lot that they're going to bump it up to 300 kilowatt, especially for the newer refresh Model X and S and the Cybertruck. And the Cybertrucks supposedly can take, the 800 volt input. So when they actually have V4 stations, the actual chargers, not just the stalls, because right now all the ones that are out there are just they upgraded the stalls to V4, but the back end is still a V3. But that's when we're going to see the real advantage. So are we going to see double the speed? Probably not, but we're probably going to see a better charge curve. Like, it's going to charge faster for longer, and they probably will turn it up to 300 kilowatt, maybe or I think they said they were going to do 350. So then we'd probably see 350, and it'll probably run for, closer to at least a quarter of the battery, if not half the battery, before it really starts falling off. Other Cybertruck news. I went to the Tesla store in Salt Lake, which apparently you can, I guess, test drive and supercharge, but they don't do deliveries there anymore. So you have to go down to the I can't remember the name of that town now. I was gonna say Broomfield, but that doesn't sound right. I was just there. I've been to so many Tesla stores lately, and I'm just starting to lose track. Pleasant Grove. In Pleasant Grove, I was told by the Salt Lake Service Center, or the Salt Lake store, and the person I talked to there, they've been delivering about one Cybertruck every week, and that one of them was delivered to Jackson, Wyoming. And I might actually get mine delivered directly to me, and I might not have to drive to Colorado or Utah. Who knows? That they used to do that back in the day. They used to deliver them to me over in Wyoming, but they kind of stopped doing that the past couple of years, which is really annoying because we bought some for work and they were delivered to us, and then when the lease was up, we had to return them, and then having to take them back to somewhere we didn't get them from, and then having no way back was a little bit of a problem. Anyways, this is live, so if you guys have questions or comments or whatever, please chat. That's the entire point of this, is just have a conversation, kill some time. I got 40 minutes to spend at the supercharger. I'm down to about 15 minutes left. I wasted about 10 so far. If you watched my last Tesla video, it was a review on a mat or a seat cover for the back seat of the Model Y. It's a pretty cool seat cover, and you can save money if you look at the code on there. There's a percentage off. But the one before that was all about the Cybertruck and going through the order process of the Cybertruck. And I've got a Foundation Series all-wheel drive on order, and they're saying it's going to be delivered between now and March. So I'm going through the process of whether or not I'm going to trade in the Cybertruck or trade in the F-150 Lightning and or the Model Y. Normal dealerships that let you can trade in multiple vehicles towards the purchase of one. As far as I know, with Tesla, you can only trade in one vehicle. And that's probably for the best, because their quotes on trades are horrendous. I'm not super happy. I did one through them and one through Carvana. Both of them aren't great. Tesla's is the worst of the two. Although if you trade in with Tesla, the trade, it helps out on the taxes that you have to pay. So it's worth a few $1,000s if you do the Tesla trade versus like Carvana. But I can see like the going rate of the F-150 Lightning Lariat with all the options that I have, and it went up $2,000 last week. So and then they ended the credit that they were doing. Not the tax credit's still there, but not the rebate. They were doing another $7,500 rebate last November, and they stopped. So hopefully the value is a little bit better than what Tesla thinks it is. They also slowed down production, so they're a little bit they're going to be a little bit harder to get here in the next couple months. But if anybody wants a Lightning, I've got one for sale, and also this Model Y that I'm in. I have this one on Turo if you want to rent it. I've been wanting to rent out the Lightning on Turo, but it has a recall on the brake light bar on the tailgate, and it's been that way ever since I bought it. And they keep saying they're gonna fix it as soon as they get the part in, but Turo won't let you list anything with a recall. We also have a Model Y X that we were going to list on Turo, but they won't list anything over 140,000 miles, and it's got 150,000 miles. And surprisingly, that Model, other than the battery range being low on that Model X, it's a really nice car. Like, it drives better than this Y, even though the Y is about 4 years newer. Yeah, the air suspension is just great in the X, and it's just roomy, and all the doors are automatic. And yeah, I mainly used to drive a Model Y or a Model X, and then when I got the Rivian, I got the Model S Plaid for a while, and then I got the Rivian, and then I got the Lightning, and then I also got this Y. I thought I had sold the Lightning to somebody about a year ago, and they backed out of the deal, and I had already bought this used Y, so I ended up with both. I hadn't intended on having the Lightning and the Y, but that's just how things go sometimes. And then I was hoping I could do Turo on some of them, but then for a bunch of different reasons, I wasn't really able to list any of them. And now I finally got this Y listed, and there's somebody renting it the first weekend in February, so that'll be cool. Unless I sell it, I'll have to cancel it. But yeah, I need to sell these two vehicles. Again, if you got any questions on the Cybertruck or traveling about 800 miles in a single day in a Tesla in the middle of winter where it's like 0 degrees, let me know. It definitely affects range, and it affects charging speed. So this trip, I can make it in the summertime in record time with the Model S Plaid. And not because I'm going super fast, just because it had a really big battery and an amazing charge curve and access to a lot of V3 chargers now on this route. So I would spend literally 5 to 10 minutes in the Model S, or I'd be able to skip multiple superchargers because it was about a 400-mile range. Going back down to the Y, I'm having to do more stops and charge for longer, even though technically both of them can charge at 250 kilowatts, the Model S would do it for longer. So it's just kind of interesting. And then like the Lightning, I think it's only rated for 150 kilowatts, but it's pretty steady. It doesn't drop as quickly. The Rivian, it would do up to 250 kilowatts, but it dropped really fast as well, and kind of stabilized closer to the 150 range for longer. The out of spec review, they're the ones that they do some amazing testing on charge curves and vehicles and things like that. If you want to see more detailed channels, they post like he's posting like multiple hour-long videos on CyberTruck right now. Hey Scott, yes, that's yeah. I've been watching this whole trip. I've been watching these Cybertruck videos from Out of Spec, and it's interesting because he had a Rivian, I had a Rivian, I have a Lightning now, and he's driven a Lightning, and they've been comparing all of them, and man, I'm really hyped up for the Cybertruck. But there's some things on the Cybertruck that got me a little nervous, like the lack of the frunk. Like I really make use of the frunk in the Lightning, and that was also another big advantage over the Rivian. But the Rivian had that really cool gear tunnel that I used all the time, and the Lightning doesn't have that. And the Cybertruck doesn't have either of those things. It's got a relatively small frunk. It doesn't have power outlets in it, in the frunk, and it doesn't have the gear tunnel. Although it does have the vault, and it's got more clearance at the very back of the vault if you want to put something taller in it. I guess if you get the range extender, then you still have more clearance above that part where it sits. Like if you're going to put things in at an angle. um, the tailgate that goes up on the Lightning, you can close the tailgate with a push of a button or from inside of your cab. On the Cybertruck, it's a manual lift. It's not a huge deal, but there's also the cool like step that comes out and pull so you can get up into the bed. That isn't available on the Cybertruck, but the suspension goes down. So it's and I forgot to check. Does the Cybertruck have a real bumper? Because that was the big thing with the Rivian that was weird. There's no bumper like that sticks out that you can, like in a normal pickup. There's a bumper that is a step that you can hop onto and hop into the bed. But on the Rivian, you basically had to open the little doors on the tunnel or the gear tunnel, and that's what you use to hop up and get in from the other side. It was kind of different. Yeah, there's a bumper on the Cybertruck, but it'll be interesting to see how getting into the bed of the truck to get things in and out and towards the back of it is going to work on the Cybertruck. Usually you hop on the side of the tire, or if there's running bars, but there's no running bars. There is tires. Yeah, and I guess Kyle from Out of Spec, he's going to CES. I'm going to CES, so I'll probably see him around there, checking out all the vehicles that are electric, and we'll see the real competition. You know, spec-wise, people aren't talking about it, mainly because they're not shipping them. But the Silverado and, was it the GMC Denali, basically the same truck, they have the 450-mile range. And they have the pass-through where the back seats fold down and you can fit even more long poles or sheetrock or whatever you want to put back there. They have a lot of the features everybody's requested. The price is kind of high, but not as high as the Cybertruck. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm getting the Cybertruck. And the main reason is it's got the autopilot and the interface, and just everything works so much better in the Teslas. The CarPlay and Android Auto is fine in the Lightning, but it's not, I don't know, just the whole like having to press an on-off button and just locking it when you leave doesn't seem to work right. I don't know, it's just like an old school car from like 20, 30 years ago. It just doesn't feel like the future, or it's like a big step backwards going from a Tesla. And then the Rivian felt like what this Model Y is, or a Model 3, kind of like the version 2 of a Tesla. But the Refresh S and X kind of feel like version 3s. They're like another step up there. And kind of above and beyond what where Rivian is. And the Cybertruck, I think it's closer to like that refresh Model S and X, and just a little bit more refinement above that in comparison. Also, these videos that I've been seeing and postings kind of confirm what I think. The Cybertruck's smaller. Like, oddly enough, it like sits and feels smaller than even the Rivian, even though it is a little bit longer. It's just the fact that it doesn't have a nose on it, and like the way that the triangle roof is, and it's just I don't know, it feels overall smaller. It's weird because the prototype that came out seemed massive. It seemed really big. And they did make it slightly smaller, but it feels a lot smaller to me. All right, 20 minutes of live stream. Thank you, everybody who's been watching. People have popped in and out. I see we got a couple people on here. If you got any more questions for me, I've got about 8 minutes left on my charge before I'm going to head out and go on my drive to Las Vegas. Yeah, so I was going to head out earlier and go to, not Nephi, but I'm in Nephi. I was going to head out to Scorpio, but I saw that it cost literally twice as much to charge there, and I was like, nope, nope, nope. I'd say I'll hop on YouTube and do a chat with everybody instead, because that'll probably save me some pretty good money. Let's see, how much am I paying now? Like overall, this charging session, this trips cost a lot more than they normally does. I'm paying about $20 a session. I'm having to do about 5 stops to get to Vegas, so it was about $100. And I remember it used to cost more like 50, and then I had a couple different Teslas that had free supercharging, and it was free. So that was really nice. Let's see. So I've charged about 60 kilowatts for about $20 out of a 75 kilowatt pack. That's not horrible. Oh, I have more range than I need to get to where I'm going. I'm past the point of what I needed to get to where I'm going. I'm now at the point where I got a full battery. So I've been here longer than I needed to be. I gotta get going. Thanks everybody for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned. You can follow me on Twitter /X at Walking Crow. I'll be doing some more of these live postings throughout CES. Now through next Thursday. It's media day tomorrow, so we'll have some kind of YouTube shorts. I'm going to do a lot of those on products that are just kind of unique and catch my eye. A lot of vaporware at CES, stuff that hasn't come out yet and probably never will, but really interesting ideas. And this is where like the big breakthroughs or like kind of the trends in the future, where the industry's going. A lot of startups, a lot of technologies that may not be out for a while, but you know, then some bigger company kind of catches on and starts doing it. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.